All right, good afternoon and welcome to everyone who's signing in to this webinar on June 9th of 2021. Happy to have you here with us. My name is Patrick Linsman. I work at the University of Northern Iowa, and I am the program manager for the Iowa SourceLink platform, an Iowa SourceLink where we can connect businesses to all sorts of resources across the state, and especially our partners at the Iowa Department of Revenue, as we like to do with all things taxes. At UNI, we've got a full suite of programs where we can help assist businesses, from family businesses to succession planning, starting, growing, and even when it's time to exit. We work on the Iowa Sourcing platform with our partners at the Iowa Economic Development Authority, and we're happy to be able to work with them, the Department of Revenue, to bring you today's webinar. Couple of quick housekeeping things as we're getting started. This webinar is recorded and will be available for you to watch at a later date. So if people have signed up and you gotta mute us while you're eating your lunch, that's fine. You can catch the recording later. If you're looking for a copy of the slides, I just posted the link in the chat box. You can go there and download a copy of that PowerPoint for you to have. And I'll continue to post that link as more people sign in for you to get. If you have questions today during the webinar, we would love to be able to try to answer them. You can go ahead and enter those into the Q&A box. That's going to be the only place on Zoom that you can chat. The chat box is there just for me to send you messages. So as you have questions, please enter them into the Q&A. We'll be able to track those, and Terry will be able to answer them as we go. So without further ado, our presenter today is Terry O'Neill. He's a taxpayer services specialist at the Iowa Department of Revenue. He's been there for, I'll say, a decent number of years. We won't talk any specifics, but Terry's been doing webinars with us now. I think we're in our 8th year. So we're excited to have him here with us. We're going to be talking about using the eFile and pay system at the Department of Revenue. And then in the background, as we have questions that we need someone smarter than me to answer, we've got Ruth Bennis, also with the Iowa Department of Revenue, that will be there to potentially help answer your questions. So with that, again, thanks for everyone that is here. Terry, take us away.
All righty. Thanks a lot, Patrick. Welcome to everybody. Glad you could attend today's webinar. As Patrick said, we're going to be talking about using our eFile and pay system, which is something that if you're in business, you have a sales tax permit or you pay withholding taxes or anything along that line, you're going to use our eFile and pay system. So we're just going to go through some things related to our eFile and pay system. Hopefully we'll make your life a little easier when you use the system. So we'll just jump right in and get started. The agenda items we're going to cover today, we're going to discuss using the eFile and pay system, how to update account information, how to add more users. We're also going to talk about passwords and web user IDs, and then self-service account access as well. That'll help if you have some issues, you get locked out or you forget what your user ID is or things like that. Those are the items that we're going to cover here today. So we'll just go ahead and just jump right in and get going at it. A couple of things here that I guess I wanted to start out with. I just wanted to kind of get a couple of definitions here. So when I use some of these terms, you can understand where I'm coming from. When we have a business entity, over on the left-hand side, we have some responsible parties that are financially responsible for the business. Usually you're talking in this situation like an owner or possibly an officer of a company. These are the folks that will apply for an Iowa tax permit. They're going to receive the permit number. They're going to get the letter, and it's going to have the BEN, the business e-file number. Our acronym is BEN for that, business e-file number. And these are the folks that are going to set up the administrative user for the e-file and pay system. The administrative user for eFile and pay, that's basically the account manager. This is the person who is the main gatekeeper of the eFile and pay system on your end, you the taxpayer. They're the account manager, and they can set up sub-users and give them various permissions of the tasks that they can perform. they can also unlock sub-users as well. So the administrative user is very important, and you need to make sure you keep those updated in our eFile and Pay system, especially if you ever change, change personnel, get some new people in different jobs. You need to make sure you keep our system updated with the proper contact information. Sub-users, this could be an employee or a third party, could be your accountant possibly. These are other folks that can use the eFile and Pay system on your behalf. Each sub-user is assigned specific duties and a specific tasks that they can accomplish. So we'll go into that more in just a little bit. But those are the three different types of folks that we're going to discuss here today. So hang in there, and we'll provide some information on these different types of folks. I guess the very first thing, how do you access the eFile and Pay system? Well, you have to start out by going to our website, and this is just a picture of our homepage. Our website is tax.iowa.gov, and this is essentially what it looks like. We're changing things constantly in here, some of the information, some of the icons, and some of the latest news. But how to access the eFile and Pay system, you're going to click in the upper right-hand corner. There's a little red tab up there that says eFile and Pay. So to access our system, that's what you're going to do. And I just highlighted the arrow pointing to that area of our home page. Once you get into our welcome screen, which is where you are going to access the eFile and Pay system, you're going to have to enter your BEN, your business eFile number, before you can do anything. And one thing you might wonder, well, where do we get this BEN? When you register with the department for an Iowa tax permit, such as in the upper half of the screen where I'm waving the pointer here, for withholding taxes or sales or use taxes or excise tax, any of those tax types that are listed there, when you register for those tax types, not only are we going to issue you a tax permit, we're also going to issue you the BEN, the business eFile number. And we'll send a letter to you. Whatever mailing address you have on there, we will send all that information out to you. So that's where you will get the business eFile number. One thing you can also do in the lower half of the screen, you can also make payments for individual income taxes, maybe estimated taxes, or final income taxes for a tax year. You can also make corporate tax payments as well, and consumer's use tax payments if you do not have a permit with us. You can also do those through the eFile and Pay system as well. But again, we will mail the BEN out to you when you register with us for a certain tax type. When you're logging in with us, the screen on the left here, again, we just saw that on the last slide. That's where you're going to enter the BEN. And once you've gotten into the system and you've set things up, you're going to have to enter your user ID, and you're also going to have to enter your web password. So 3 things that you need to keep track of in order to access eFile and Pay. You've got to have the BEN, you've got to have your user ID, and you've got to have the web password. So make sure that you put these someplace so you've got them. I know myself and Ruth, we've been at the Department of Revenue for quite a few years, and we get questions all the time. What is my BEN? What is my web user ID? What is my password? These things are important. So you need to make sure you put them someplace safe so you've got them when the time comes to file. Because we don't want you to file late. You don't want to file late either, because then you're subject to applicable penalty and interest. So make sure you hold on to these things. It's important. Okay, a couple of things with updating your account information. And we're just going to hit on some of the highlights here. If you are changing some responsible parties, maybe in your business entity, we do have a form for that. In this situation, again, we're at our home page again, which is the tax.iowa.gov. And on the home page here, if you hover over where it says I need to, a little accordion menu is going to pop open. And if we look at this list here, as we show on the screen, where it says change or cancel a permit, you're going to click on that because we have a form to change or cancel your permit. We don't want to cancel it at this point, but to make a change to it. So if we click on that, we're going to come up with this screen, and there is also a line on here to click on that says change a permit. And you have a couple of different ways that you can accomplish this. One way that you can do this is you can complete the business tax change online. We do have an online option where you can submit all the information that way, or you can submit the paper form. And it's up to you on how you want to do this. If you submit it online, that's great. If you want to submit paper, that's fine too. On the paper change form, it does have the location of where you can fax or mail the paper business tax change form. So again, there's not a right way or wrong way. It's whatever is the most convenient for you, whatever you would like to do. A couple of things that that you need to make sure of is to keep the contact name on the account up to date. Again, the eFile contact person is the only individual that the department is authorized to talk with, basically, when it comes to helping you with eFile and pay issues. So this would be your administrative user. Sometimes what we run across, Ruth and I both have run across this, is a taxpayer will contact us, and maybe they've got the original person that set up the account, you know, like 8 years ago. And that person's been retired or hasn't been employed there, you know, for 6 years. So it's important to keep the eFile and pay administrative user information up to date. When you are filling out the user profile in eFile and pay, you have to put in the contact information for the administrative user, who's going to be the authorized person. And you can put in more than one contact. In the example on the slide here, we've got John Doe or Jane Smith. That's perfectly acceptable. Just one thing to remember though, anytime you have a staff turnover and the old person that was the administrative user, if they're no longer employed there, or they got a different job or something, make sure you get that user profile updated with the correct contact information. Now, the problem that we run into, this isn't going to cause you any grief today, but when it comes time to file, if the new person does not have the password or has some other issues, they're going to reach out to us, and we can't assist them if their name's not in our system. So it's very important to make sure that you do keep the correct contact information in our eFile and pay system. Again, submit the business tax change. If you have a staffing change, you need to update officers and those types of things, that's the form to use. Web user IDs, I said this was another thing that you're going to need to access the eFile and pay system. Again, this is something that's important. If you don't have that, you cannot access our system. So you got to make sure you keep track of the web user ID. The user ID, when you set this up, this is something that has to be at least 6 characters long. This can be upper and lowercase letters. It can have a number or multiple numbers. It can also have special characters, and of the special characters, it can either have the underscore or the @ sign. Those are the 2 special characters that can be used. So if you use one of those combinations, it has to meet all of the criteria that are on the screen here. So that's for your web user ID. One thing about your web user ID too, once you set this up, unless there's some major issue with it or something, this is going to stay the same for you. So you don't have to redo this every so many days or anything like that. The web user ID is going to stay the same unless there's an issue where we have to reset it. But that's usually more the exception than the rule. So again, write it down, put it someplace safe, make sure you've got it, because you definitely need it if you're going to access our system. Okay, once we get into the eFile and pay system, once a person is logged in here and we're talking the administrative user, they're going to come to the main menu. And the main menu is going to give you options for different things, different tasks to perform, different things that you can do. And in the upper portion here, I just want to touch on that quickly. It's going to have the tax types that you can file a return for and make a payment. It's only going to list the ones that you are registered for. This example has 4 different tax types. Depending on your business, you may have 1 tax type, 2, 3, 4. You may have multiple tax types, but this is going to show what you're all set up and registered to do here with the department. The next section gives information here on submitting W-2s and 1099s. That's always done early in the year. That's due by in February. So we're not going to discuss that here today. Administrative functions. This is what the administrative user can do. They can add or edit users. That's what we're going to talk about here today. So what am I talking about here? Well, let's say you are an administrative user for the eFile and Pay system, and maybe you've got multiple tax types that you handle. For instance, you have sales tax, you have withholding tax, you have use tax. Possibly there are different people that work with those tax types. So you may want to set up a sub-user, set up someone that can file returns or do different tasks related to those tax types. And by that, I mean, maybe the person that does sales tax, they don't know anything about the withholding tax. That's a totally separate person and separate set of job duties. So you can set up various employees or third parties to take care of these for you. We'll just walk through and I'll show you how this works. It's pretty slick, really. Once you click that you're going to add or edit a user, there is a place on here. The screen will pop up and you can click on the blue button in the lower right-hand corner that we're pointing to here. That's going to allow you to add a user. And once you click on that, you're going to pop up with this screen, the user administration screen. And this is where you can set up and put in who your who the sub-user, which again, could be another employee, could be a third party. This is where you can put their information in here. You can create a username. You can create a web user ID. Again, must be at least 6 characters, as we talked about a couple slides ago. You have to confirm that as well, so make sure you didn't make a typo the first time you entered it. You also have to set up a web password, and the web password, as it says here in the print, it must be at least 8 characters in length. It must contain at least 1 letter, 1 numeric digit, and 1 special character. One thing, it can only have the special characters that are listed here. Okay, so you can only use one of those special characters if you're putting special characters in there. It's also case sensitive, and it can have no more than 2 consecutive repeating characters. So just be aware of that when you're setting up a password. Again, anytime you set up a password, you're always going to have to confirm it to make sure you didn't fumble the fingers when you were typing. It also has a place for telephone password. Again, telephone password confirmation, email address, and you must click on the status as being active. So when you set up these sub-users, they're going to be active and be able to get into the system. Whoops, I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to jump just yet. You also have various rights that you can assign to these users. For instance, like what types of tax permits do you want them to have access to? As I said before, maybe the payroll person, you want to have them do payroll, but they don't know anything about sales tax, so you want to have a different person do that. Well, you only give permissions to these sub-users for the task that you, the system administrator, the administrative user, what you want them to perform. So these are some of the rights that you can assign to them. They're listed down here, has tax permits and stuff. And it also has different access levels, but you, the administrative user, you're the one that sets this up. For the user administration screen, again, this is just some examples of what you would fill out. You'll, again, complete this information. It always gives you a chance to confirm things when you're setting up passwords and user IDs. That's to make sure you didn't fumble when you were typing it in the first time. And that's something I can relate to. So I'm sure we all have some examples of that. So at any rate, this is what the screen will look like. And then you're also going to have to assign them some access level for tasks that they can perform. And we'll go through these because this is something that's important. The preparer, this is someone that you give them rights to prepare and save a return. Doesn't mean they can file it, but they can prepare it. Maybe you have an employee that's going to prepare the sales tax returns, but you, the administrative user, you want to review that before you submit it. So in that case, you just give that sub-user preparer access so they can prepare the return. You can also give someone access to file only. In this one, these individuals, these sub-users have rights to prepare a return, save a return, or submit a return and receive confirmation. So it gives them a little bit more than just simply preparer rights. Pay only. You could set up a person that only has access to make the payments. They can also cancel the payments. They can also look at the history as well, the payment history. This is potentially a good thing. Maybe you have some separation of duties. Maybe you've got a person that does the filing and then somebody else looks it over and then they authorize the payment. Again, there's not a right way or wrong way. These are just options that are available to you as a business entity when you're using our eFile and pay system. You can also give somebody permission to file and pay. These folks would have the rights to file and pay for the returns. They can cancel a payment. They can look at the history. They can see what's been filed with the department. That gives them a little bit more leeway on the tasks that they can perform as well. Upload. Somebody that has the rights to upload, they can upload a tax statement or transaction report. They have permission to do that. If no access, maybe the person has left, maybe they're on vacation or something, and so you take away their access. So it's disabled for the time being until you set it up again. Once again, I'm just telling you this. These are some options for sub-users. You, the administrative user, can assign different sub-users with different rights to do these things. An example would be possibly, maybe you don't do your payroll. Maybe you have your accountant does your payroll for you. Well, you can give them rights as a preparer. They can go in and they can prepare your Iowa withholding tax return. And then maybe someone in your organization can review everything and they can submit payment. It's just an option for you. It's something that you can do however you want to set it up, whatever works best for you, use that option. So those are different access levels that sub-users may have. If you look over here on the screen too, it has the little drop-down arrows that I'm pointing at on the access level over toward the right. For the different tax types, you can click on the little down arrow and give them the permission that you wish. So again, it's a pretty nice feature. It works out pretty well. Okay, once you have gone through this and you have added a user, you will notice when everything is said and done, there will be a blue message, as it says here, the user has been successfully added. This will let you know that yes, you have completed everything correctly and you have you've given the proper permissions to your sub-users. Now, if something has not been done correctly or you want to change it up later, you can always do that. You can edit the permissions or give them different permissions for different tax types. You can always do that later. So at any rate, just something to be aware of. Again, if we're back at the main menu again, as I said, we can edit users. We can go back and make changes. Maybe you've got a change of personnel. Maybe you want to give somebody more permission on the tasks that they can perform for you. You can always go back and do that. In this situation, you're going to be able to go back in. You can choose from your active usernames that you have set up, and you can, again, select add user for these individuals, and it's going to allow you to make whatever changes that need to be made. Again, you can add more people if you wish, more sub-users. You can take away access if you changed employees or something along that line. The system's really flexible. So that's my main point here I just wanted to make you aware of some of the duties that you can perform as the administrative user for the eFile and Pay system. Passwords. This is something that through the years, the staff and taxpayer services at the Iowa Department of Revenue, we've had a lot of contact from people with passwords. So I want to spend a little bit of time on that. Password rules. Excuse me. With the password, these things are going to expire every 100 days. So if you use the eFile and Pay system, please be aware you do have to set up a new password at least every 100 days. If you don't do that, the system will remind you. It'll start counting down the days, and if you let it expire, then you won't be able to access eFile and Pay. So it's important to make sure that you do follow the password rules. Make sure that you update things as needed, at least every 100 days. As we said a little bit earlier, I'll go through it again. At least 8 characters are required to be a valid password for the Iowa eFile and Pay system. You can use uppercase or lowercase letters. You can use a combination of them. That's okay. However, a password for eFile and Pay to be valid must contain at least at least the following. Has to have at least 1 letter in there. It is case sensitive. It has to contain at least 1 number. It also has to contain at least 1 special character. And only these special characters that are listed here are the ones that are allowed to be used. So please remember that. Don't try to use one that's not listed on here. Our system only allows 2 repeating characters or numbers. So you can't just put in there, your name 11111111. You can't do that. It'll only take 2 characters, 2 repeating characters in a row is all that the system will allow. So again, this is also on our website. In case you forget, we do have a link on our website to our eFile and Pay information. It provides password information on there as well, so you can always find it if you don't remember it. Many times we do get people that for whatever reason, they forgot their password, they lost the password, it expired. Who knows? If you've, it seems in this day and age, we all have a lot of passwords on our plate that we all have to keep track of for both personal and business reasons. If you need your password reset and you are listed as the administrative user in the eFile and Pay system, you're going to have to contact us over the phone. The contact information is given there, and it gives you the options that you have to press in order to have assistance with resetting your password. We used to do this by email, but we did away with that some time ago. We no longer offer that option. You have to do that over the phone. And I guess the biggest thing that I've run into is if somebody wants a password reset, they'll call us up and we won't do it for them. And why is that? We're not trying to be mean to you or anything. You have to be listed as the administrative user. So if you are a sub-user and your password, you forgot it, you can't get into the system, you need to contact your administrative user in order to have your password reset. That's for sub-users. Only if the administrative user is locked out and we need that administrative user password reset, can you contact us and we can reset it for you. And where we run into problems is perhaps if the administrative user left and you took over their duties. And once you take over their duties and you just use their login information, which that's never a good idea, but if you use their login information, when the day comes that you forget the password or you let it expire, we're not going to be able to let you back in unless you have updated your contact information with the department so that we have you where we can reset a password for you. And so again, that's why I want to stress to you, make sure when you have employee turnover, when people leave, make sure you update the profile information in eFile and Pay to make sure we have the latest contact information in there and make sure it's correct. I'm sure we can, Ruth and I can give a lot of examples over the years of people that have not kept that up to date. And again, it doesn't cause any grief for you today or tomorrow, but if your password ever expires or you need to have it reset, it's going to cause you some grief. And as usual, it's always at the last minute. You know what I mean? The return's due today. I got to get in here and do it. You may have a problem if you don't have your information up to date as far as the contact information goes. So just be aware, try to keep it up to date. Okay, for changing a password, and again, our system will prompt you when it is time to change your password, when it's going to expire, after that 100 days. This is what the screen looks like. There's going to be a place where you can type in your current password, and then you can type in your new password and confirm your new password. This is also used if you have to contact the department and you're an administrative user and we reset your password for you, okay? This is something that we will reset it. You'll have to enter the password that we gave you, the temporary one, to get in the system, and then you'll have to set up a new password. And this is what the screen looks like when you're changing a password. Again, pretty straightforward. Just make sure you follow our rules of at least 8 characters long, no more than 2 consecutive repeating characters. Got to have at least 1 letter, 1 number, and 1 special character. And again, the letters are case sensitive, so just remember that. Okay. Again, when you are logging in with us, you're going to need your password to get into the system. You're also going to need to enter the user ID and your web password. What happens if you forgot your password? We have a self-help option here. Again, if you are the administrative user, you can click on the link that we have here that says forgot password, and this will help you access the system so you can get your password. So if we click on forgot password, we're going to come up with this screen. And this screen is going to have your business eFile number is going to be in there. And it's also going to have a user ID. Oops. Excuse me. It's going to have the user ID in there as well. And it's going to ask you something. It's going to ask you some questions. When you set up your user profile, when you first got into eFile and Pay, and again, I'm talking about the administrative user, you had to set up some security questions for just such an occasion. And you had to make these up. It'll give you the option of, say, what is your lucky number? Put in your answer. Who is your favorite athlete of all time? Put in your answer. If you do that and then hit the continue button, that's going to help you get your password back. Again, a common question that we get is we'll have somebody that clicks on that link that says forgot password. If we click on this link, it says forgot password, and this looks okay. They get through this screen just fine, but then they look at these questions and they're like, I never set that up. To me, that says, well, you must not be the person that's the administrative user. Perhaps you're using the administrative user's password and stuff that allowed you to get into the system, but we need to keep that profile updated, which includes updating the security questions. So when you do forget your password, you can still access the system on your own. So again, assuming we knew the answer to these questions, what we will do then is you will be able to change your password. And again, using our rules for passwords, at least 8 characters long, 1 letter, 1 number, 1 special character, no more than 2 consecutive repeating characters. It will allow you to enter your password, and then as always, we're going to have you confirm the password. And looking at the screen here, looks like we might be a dot short maybe. So that's why we ask you to confirm it. Gives you a chance to make sure you enter it twice so you've got the right information. Okay, some more information to help you access your account on your own. And why is this important? You can do this anytime, meaning you don't have to contact the department. You can access this as long as you can get into the system. Your internet's working, you'll be fine. It's kind of handy if you're trying to do this on a Sunday afternoon or something. Perhaps you can get in yourself. You won't need to contact the department because we're obviously not open on Sunday. So some information on this. If we have an administrative user and perhaps you forget the web ID, this is something that happens on occasion. But I must admit, the folks I've dealt with, usually it's more of a password issue because, again, your web user ID doesn't change. Very rarely could it change. Usually once you set that up, it stays that way unless for some reason you have to have us reset the user ID. But in this situation, you do have the option here. You can click on the link down here at the bottom left of the screen where we have the red arrow. It says Forgot Web User ID. And for that, if we click on that link, then we're going to come to the Forgot Web User ID screen, and it's going to give you some information. This is something here to help you recover it. You're going to have to provide an email associated with your account, and in this, the information will be sent to you by email. So some things you have to be sure you put in here. you have to put in your tax permit number that's related to this BEN, business e-file number. You'll have to also tell us what tax type this is associated with. So if it's a sales tax permit, you'll have to put in the sales tax permit number and then hit the little drop down arrow and click on sales tax. And then you're going to have to put in the email address. Again, the information will be emailed to you. So it's make sure it's important to get that in there correctly. So if we do that, the next screen that we're going to see in here is this one that's going to pop up, and it's going to tell you the web user ID has been sent to the email address. So you have to open up your email, and it's going to give you the user ID that you need to put in here. That's going to allow you to access the system. So again, just in my experience, yes, it does happen, but it's less frequent that people have user ID issues. They still do. I'm not trying to say that they don't, but we seem to run into more password issues is what we run into, because those do change at least every 100 days. So, okay, enter your web user ID, enter your password. You should be able to access the system. Additional information for you. As always, it's never a good idea to share your password. Every user should have their own unique account and their own credentials. It's best not to share passwords and things. This applies in personal life as well as your business life. Identify your sub-users. Decide who needs to file returns and remit payments on behalf of your business. As I said, different tax types, maybe that requires different people. I know if you're a small business, you might have one person that takes care of everything. There's nothing wrong with that, but just be aware that some businesses do have a lot more things going on. There are more Iowa tax permits involved, and maybe there's different people that need to be filing these returns. So make sure you kind of think about this. Who do I want that's going to be able to file returns and remit payments for my business? Power of attorney. This is something that must be on file with the department to grant permission for anyone else to contact us regarding your business taxes. We've also had a recent change. We've got some other third-party access forms that's on our website. So there are other forms besides a power of attorney. Depending on your situation, you may be able to use one of them other forms instead of a power of attorney. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I believe 8821 is one of the third-party access forms. That's something, again, all these forms are on our website. This is a recent change that we just had at the department with other forms that allow individuals to have contact with the department regarding your tax information. So something to be aware of. Just as a general reminder as well, if you or someone associated with your business, maybe it's the accountant, before the department can talk to them regarding your taxes or the business tax returns, it doesn't matter if you're an employee that's been there for many years, you have to have some type of third-party access authorization. It has to be listed in our system someplace before we can talk to you. One thing we take very seriously at the Department of Revenue is we are the keeper of a lot of confidential information. And just as though you would not want someone giving out information regarding your personal income taxes, we sure as heck don't want to be giving out any information to someone that is not authorized. So just remember that if you're a new employee for a business, you can call us up and you can try to get some information about the taxes for the business. But unless you're shown in our system as an authorized person, we can't give you any information. So something to be aware of. Again, here are some of the authorization forms. Again, this is something that is new at the Department of Revenue. This does have information on here. There are different forms depending on different circumstances. So there is a power of attorney form that we have similar to what we've always had. There's other third-party access forms. There's just various things that you could use depending on your circumstances. If we go to this particular area of our website and we click on where we have the red arrow down here, it says determining which form to use. This will provide some guidance to you. This will help you determine which form you need to submit with the department. in order to be an authorized individual so that you can obtain information regarding a specific tax return or a specific business. So you can look through this as you have time when you go to our website. Again, the information is posted there on the website. Some other information that we do have at the Department of Revenue, if you ever have questions about certain tax types, and I know this today we're talking about using eFile and Pay, but if you're using eFile and Pay, chances are you're registered with Iowa for a certain tax permit type. If you're not sure about taxability, our tax research library is a place that you can go to find out some additional information. If you've had a question on something or you want clarification, possibly it's been addressed previously, and you can find something in our tax research library. If you get in there, there's a place to click, enter some keywords, and you can pull up the applicable information that we do have on our website in the research library regarding to your question. Email updates. Does anybody subscribe to these? Hopefully everybody out there subscribes to these email updates. This is from our home page. Remember, the tax.iowa.gov, and down toward the bottom of the page, you can subscribe to updates. This is something that they don't cost anything, and we don't spam you to death either. We've got a variety of different tax updates that you can subscribe to. Some of the topics are listed here on this slide, and maybe some of these things are things that may not apply to you. That's okay. What you can do is pick and choose the ones that apply to you. If they don't, you can either, if you receive them, you can either delete them if you don't need it, or else you can unsubscribe to those particular topics. Myself and a lot of us in taxpayer services at the department, we subscribe to all of these just so we know what's going out. When we get questions and things, at least we're aware of where the question is coming from, that you do receive these topics. As I like to say, and I've said it for years, I would rather have the information and not need it than need the information and not have it. When COVID was going crazy a year ago, we were having updated information put out on our website constantly. And if you subscribe to these email updates, at least it was providing that information to you so you were aware as changes were happening. That was uncharted territory for all of us, even us at the Department of Revenue. And there was a lot of different things going on with deadlines and different grants and different things for businesses. So that information was changing constantly. This is a good way to stay in touch with the department. That's my point. It's a good way to stay informed. As I said, delete it if you don't need it. I know where the delete key's at on my keyboard. If it's something that I don't deal with or it doesn't concern me, I just get rid of it. But it's a good way to stay in touch with the department. Some other good ways to stay in touch with the department. We are actually out there on Twitter. We're also out there on Facebook. So the department is out there on social media. You can follow us through social media as well. Again, this is just another tool that allows you to stay in touch with the department. If there's ever any changes or something that comes out, we'll put it out there for you. It's a good way to stay in touch so you know what's going on. A reminder to everybody here that this presentation is for general educational purposes only. If any of you happen to be under audit or a protest, you've got to work with your contact at the department regarding the audit or protest. That's not something that we can get involved with here in the taxpayer services area. That's not the purpose of this presentation here today. And that wraps up the information I had for you. I see that we have a few questions here, it appears. So let's take a look here. We've got one. How can I? Okay, let's try this one here. This one, it says, how can I become an administrative user or sub-user without an entity, just as an individual to do payroll for an entity? Okay, for this one, what you can do is whoever your client is, I'm taking this to mean that you, if you're going to do payroll for an entity, that they are a client of yours, their administrative user is going to have to set you up. They will get into the eFile and Pay system and they will set you up as a sub-user. This will allow you to get in and do whatever task they give you permission to do. You can file returns. Maybe you'll do the Iowa withholding returns. Maybe they want you to make the payments as well. But that's something you need to talk to your client and have them set you up. If they want to have you as the administrative user, they can certainly do that. That's up to the business. So you need to talk to your client. They will get you set up.
So Terry, one, great job. I think everyone was captivated as always. And I think a follow-up to Sandra's question there is if she's doing it for multiple entities, can she have one account, or is she going to have multiple sub-user or admin accounts, or she can just have one that's just for her that she can use with different clients?
Oh, she's trying to, okay, I see what you're saying. She's got a bunch of clients and she wants to have access to all of them.
Potentially. I don't know if that's the case, but I'm just thinking out loud. If there's a way, like if I'm doing it for a bunch, do I just have one account that's just me as an individual? I want to keep my account all there. Can I do that for multiple entities?
Well, I think if you're saying like if you're a bulk filer potentially that you have lots of clients that you are that you're dealing with,
Yeah.
you do register with us as a bulk filer, and that gives you some information. Yep, bulk filer. Let's let Ruth said she'd like to jump in on this one. If you want to, Ruth, go ahead.
I will jump in. If you are not an entity yourself and you are being hired or want to file for multiple agencies, you can request with the department to be a bulk filer. You wouldn't necessarily have a permit for yourself, but you apply to become a bulk filer. We issue you a BEN number. You would log in, and then you'll see a new option in the middle of your main menu that will say file for your clients. And then you'd be able to, what you basically need from your clients is 3 pieces of information. You would need their BEN number, their Iowa permit number, and their filing frequency. And that would allow you to either do it one at a time manually on their behalf, or you can create a giant bulk file so that you can upload maybe all 20 of your entities that you're trying to file for at once.
And yeah, thank you, Ruth. And this, we're back to the main menu here. If you are a bulk filer and you're registered with us as such, in the administrative functions to perform, it'll say you'll have an option in here to file for your clients. So that will be, if you are set up that way, you will have that option in the main menu that will let you get in and do your filing that way.
Awesome. No, I think that hopefully that answered all of your questions. So as we like to wrap up here today, here soon, we appreciate everyone being here. Terry, any final thoughts as you're thinking of eFile and Pay?
Yep.
Tips people need to keep in mind as they're getting into the system?
Yeah, one thing I just wanted to point out to you as well, if you'll probably think of a question right after we shut this thing off. So all is not lost. Reach out and contact us. Our phone number at the Department of Revenue is 515-281-3114. It's listed up here. You can contact us that way if you have a question about something related to eFile and Pay or Iowa tax in general. That's our contact number in the taxpayer services area. Or you can email us at idr@iowa.gov if you've got questions. And depending on what your question is, it could be Ruth or I that's responding to you, that's going to be answering you. We're just a couple of the staff that monitor that inbox, and we respond by email to a lot of folks. So don't feel that once we shut this off today that you'll never hear from us again. We are still available at the Department of Revenue. You just have to reach out and contact us. We'll do what we can to assist you.
Absolutely. So the rest of this summer, we've got a full lineup of tax webinars. So one of the links I posted there in the chat, you can go out to Iowa SourceLink, where you can find downloads of old presentations. You can look at past recordings, and also you can see the full upcoming schedule. Our next webinar is going to be on July 14th. We're going to be looking at the Iowa sales and use tax basics. So if you're new to sales tax or new to anything like that, please sign up, come back. You might see some familiar faces that'll be here with us to go over that. But with that, if there aren't any other questions, again, Terry, Ruth, thank you so much. On behalf of University of Northern Iowa SourceLink, and IDA, we really appreciate you guys coming out from the Department of Revenue to share this information with us. It'll be recorded. If you're watching this on the recording, thank you for watching us on the recording, and we're here to help. But otherwise, we look forward to seeing you in one of our webinars down the line.
Thanks for attending, everyone.
All right.